got a really interesting webinar today. Of course, my name is Dan Norman. I'm the Security Middle East Chairperson and Regional Director at the Information Security Forum. But I am joined by a couple of stellar speakers today, which we'll be introducing shortly. And we are going to be covering future-proofing campus security. Now, campuses worldwide are experiencing a variety of growing threats and evolving challenges. And it's absolutely crucial for not only the security of the individuals, but the data that is housed within the campus itself. Having a robust security system in place is key. And essentially, this webinar will aim to highlight the importance of integrating state-of-the-art physical security platforms like Genetec with existing systems and infrastructure to anticipate future risks and establish a resilient security framework. Now, I'm very happy to introduce two of our experts. If we flick to the next slide, we'll be able to see both of them. Our first speaker is Issam Shibany. He is Head of Pre-Sales and Business Development. He's been at the organization for a while. He has over 14 years of experience managing the commercial and technical designs of complex security systems. He's got expertise in deployment, including the Expo 2020 and police forces, and is well positioned to highlight a lot of the security challenges that campuses are facing here. The second and accompanying speaker is Ephrem Tesfai. He's a senior manager at Genetec, and he heads up the EMEA sales engineering team at that organization. He's got, again, a bunch of experience in this industry, a lot of pedigree as well. So I'm really excited to see the complementing skill sets from both individuals on this session today. So if we go to the next slide, essentially the objective of the session here is to highlight some of the challenges that campuses are facing, and then over the period of the webinar, we'll be able to highlight some of the suggestions and some of the implementation points that both Convergint and Genetec can support. But as always, if anyone has any questions, please do add them to the question pane, and we will endeavour to get to them towards the end of the webinar. So we'll start off by looking at the current security landscape. And I think I'll pose the first question to Issam. Look, it's been a while since, I assume, a lot of us have been on campuses ourselves. But how has the evolving security needs for campuses changed? What are the sort of major changes that have happened? And what are the challenges that you have noticed over the years? And yeah, maybe we can touch upon some of the ways of addressing that too.
Thanks, Dan. And indeed, it's been a while. I think we're both millennials, and these days it's mostly Gen Z in universities, a different generation altogether. So I'm gonna touch on this subject. Thank you for the introduction. I'm gonna touch on this subject and other subjects that we'll talk about purely from an integrator perspective, maybe shedding light on some of the experiences we've had before, what we're doing now, you know, in the education sector and specifically in the higher education. And I'll start by addressing the question that you just brought up. So I think to understand what's going on campuses, we have to sort of have a bird's eye view on the whole campus life and what happens within these universities. Usually the average ratio between student and faculty is around 15-16 to 1. So in a large size university, we're talking about 13,000 people in that university. That's a big number of people to secure. Most of the students right now are Gen Z students. The Gen Z students are a bit different from our generation. I would say they're less savvy on the cybersecurity. they're pretty much out there, which puts them in harm's way and puts them as a vulnerable target for many of those who want to target these students. And that's, I will touch on this part later in the light of the region where we come from today. The other threats that we see in universities that have been there for ages are, I mean, sexual offenses, violence, burglary, robbery, alcohol and drug offenses. So it's pretty much the classical things that you see in universities, of course, with a varying level between one campus and the other, and one area and the other, one country and the other. Today, Gen Z is the largest demographic, and they are the main target of many groups. And I'm gonna transition from this to how I would say from the previous decade to this decade, what we have seen a difference in those threats, which is the second part of your question. So if you look at it in the early 2000s, we had maybe less geopolitical pressure and more pressures from the usual classical threats that we have in universities. We had less legislation, and the technology at hand was a bit more limited. It was still transitioning from the proprietary systems to more open systems, more capable systems. So it's a pretty different way how different campus operators address those threats. Post-COVID era, which is 2020 onwards, legislation became heavier, technology became more advanced. Companies like Genetec have been in the business for quite a while. Their platforms have developed a lot. And now is the age of AI, video analytics, drones, converged technologies, unified platform. So we have much more options on how we deal with those threats. And I believe you have, you'll be touching on that angle from in different parts of the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting you mentioned Gen Z because back in 2020, we did a threat forecast at the ISF where we predicted the security implications of Generation Z as they enter the workforce and as they enter the campus life. And they do really demonstrate different security behaviors to that of millennials or other generations. And especially from the cyber security side as well, I think we've seen a lot of open information sharing. You just look at the use of social media, for example. I think that transitions and flows quite nicely into other walks of life, especially in person as well. So it's quite an interesting angle to look at the differences between demographics and between generations. But thank you, Issam. So moving on to the next question here, Ephrem, how would you recommend approaching these challenges, and how do what's your perception really of the evolving threat landscape in higher education settings?
And that was complementing actually what Issam, my friend, said. Today we're coming from the software industry, right? For us, so the biggest challenge that we've seen in the security systems, the lack of ability to organize and process data gathering from increasing number of sensors, which means today, if you notice on every bigger projects we work on, we've seen companies work for the different software from different manufacturers and hundreds of thousands of sensors actually managed by different application. So what would happen is this holds you back from gaining insight in your security in campus environment, because you have now not correlated in one platform. So basically what we did as Genetec, you need a system like Genetec that actually unifies data in various sensors and deliver it in a user-friendly way. So that's where our biggest advantage that when it comes to college. So for example, adopting customizable dashboard is a key step in helping security security team identify and understand the important trends that actually would be otherwise go unnoticed. Today, we know that the threats are on the rise. Every day, the regulation change. It's something that actually we cannot control. But what we can control is having a good security system that can help you elevate those challenges that will help you in the system. So the security systems are becoming also increasingly data-driven. Moving to today, as what I mentioned, to unified flexible platform will help you secure students and promote the learning condition ideal for them to thrive. This is very important. They need to be comfortable in what they do or when they learn. So as always, a better security system has a positive correlation, not only on the school branding, but also it adds for admission rates and even the rating for the institution. Most importantly today, it promotes a safe environment for your students and staff. So for me, as a security threat continues to grow again increasingly, and we've seen a lot of in higher education environment, Genetec understands the difficult challenge that faced by most schools and college today, and is dedicated to create a solution to meet campus security and operational needs. So we have the solution to help move on the challenge which is what they have been using for many years as a decade. So as also mentioned, like now the generation changing, the students are changing. We're not, so the same thing for application software are actually moving to the next level of security, and Genetec is there to help that pass the challenge for them. Back to you, Dan.
It's an interesting perspective you bring there, because I've never thought about sort of we think of security as like being in its own bucket, you know, but security can add value to the perception of the schooling, right? So
correct.
It's sort of combining the security benefits with marketing, for example, with sales, which can drive revenue in itself. So I really like that idea that if you improve security, it can add value multidimensionally. So back to you, Issam. I mean, if we look at the amount of technologies that universities use and integrating various existing technologies like IoT, biometric authentication, why is that a challenge? And why is integrating these various security systems together so important? How can we streamline all of those different technologies into something that's usable, pragmatic, and scalable?
Right. Thanks, Dan. There's a lot of things to unpack in your question, but let me try to tackle it. So I think it all starts by, first of all, the users, the campus operators, security in the campus, identifying what they want to achieve. It's normally a combination of two things: the operational requirement and the legal requirement. In most cases, it's a legal requirement for them to have these security systems and checks and balances in place. In other cases, that is usually complemented also by some operational requirements. And that's not easy to do. We try and urge our customers, and many of them are in the higher education sector, to go through the process. Just don't skip through the steps. Identify the compliance. What regulation is asking you to do. And more importantly, understand your demographics. A lot of these crimes in universities have certain trends. These trends are governed by the demographics that you have in the university. The environment that the university is in. Is Arab Spring happening where your university is? Is there geopolitical pressures where you come from? Is it a 95% male to 5% female? Is the crime rate around the university high? So these are all very important elements to look at, though controversial in many cases, but they must be taken into considerations. And this step, the design or the understanding step, is key to identify the problems that we are trying to solve. Once that is done, the next step is looking for the technology. Unfortunately, many users skip this step and go shopping in the market for technology, and they are normally overwhelmed with the technology that's there in the market. So if you went through this process, you identify the technologies that you need, then you need to build the platform to bring those technologies in. companies like Genetec offer this kind of platform where it is open and it is ready and it's scalable. You can operate multiple campuses on it. So there's a lot of potential that's innate within the software so that you can advance it, change it, and deal with different threats. Because again, like these trends and crime rates, they also change. And the technology also changes. So you need to sort of set yourself on a path of success and growth in security, just like in anything else, to make sure that when the changes happen, you are there. Second element is the skill set and training. So that's key. That's very important. One of the main challenges that stands in the path of an integrator or even the operator themselves is having the right skill set to integrate these systems. So putting these technologies together and having them actually work and achieve what the campus security team is looking for. That means a lot of investment in training, a lot of attending of shows, of road shows, looking into the documentation, going over the technical capabilities of these software platforms, and trying to understand what they are capable of. Second thing, we maybe urge also the campus, and we have experienced this firsthand as Convergint, is work closely with your security partners. Let it be the vendors or the systems integrator. If you have a good working relationship and you're getting the right technical advice, it's going to put you again on the right path to see this process through, to do the right identifying of the threats, the crimes, and what you need to do with them, build the technology that's required, put the right systems in place in the correct way, and then later be able to maintain them and keep them running and performing consistently. So that's on that. The reason why do we like to unify and integrate, and we sort of push our customer in this direction? Well, I mean, you can write volumes on this, but it's basically the whole idea is how much broader are you going to make your solutions capable of. So you have more access to technology. If you have something like a Genetec in place, unifying all of those systems, instead of training your security team on 10 different systems, basically you have to train them on one system, one interface with a security solution. And Genetec being open, again, Genetec will, I'm sure Ephrem will touch on this, but it opens the horizons for you to go and find different kinds of subsystems and sub-solutions to have them on top. Do you need a facial recognition system to look over the offenders list that you have, match to the database and detect these offenders when they enter your campus? Do you want to look at trends? How people behave within your campus, students, staff, visitors, all of those guys. So this is opening the door for you, opening the horizons for you. That's why we push for unification. And one of the things that maybe we touch on later as well is value for money. It's instead of buying 50 different solutions and spending tons on upgrades and on training and all the time wasted in achieving all of those things, this is a lot of value for money, because you're unifying your platforms, you're unifying your maintenance, you're unifying your access to the systems, your management of your systems and your campus, which I think improves the quality of the experience for everyone. Thanks.
It's definitely interesting. And I mean, every organization, not just campuses or universities, has a very unique threat profile and a sort of risk landscape. But I suppose the kind of point I'm making here is there has to be a good business case. And you have to understand the technologies that are in play and what they're being used for, and how you can expedite or accelerate or make the whole process seamless or streamlined. I think that's absolutely key. But I think a follow-on question that I'd like to pose to Ephrem is, we think about all the technologies, all of the systems, all of the partners we have, and I can think of a lot of issues surrounding data privacy and ensuring a balance between security and safeguarding personal privacy. What are your thoughts when it comes to balancing data privacy and enhancing security?
Thanks, Dan. I think that's a very sensitive question and something that actually, as Genetec, security solution provider, it's our duty to ensure that any private data captured by our secure system is fully protected. We can assure you this. So for us, it's more than regulation. It's not like because we had to do there's a regulation applies for each and every region. It's something the way we have been always developing our products, handling personal data with care. You got to be very sensitive, and the product has to build in it for that matter. So balancing security measure with individual privacy right is today is delicate and crucial challenge in today's world. We know that everywhere it applies now. It's, especially when it comes to Europe, GDPR, this is something actually you can get a lot of fine on the privacy protection. So while it's important to implement surveillance as a security measure to safeguard people, your assets, it's equally important to respect and protect individuals' rights and privacy. So we need to establish clear legal framework first that define the boundaries of surveillance activities and conditions under which they can be conducted, and ensure that actually surveillance practices comply with applicable laws in each country, the regions, and on the top of the ethical guidelines. It needs to be there. So as we need to clearly also define the specific purpose of which surveillance data will be collected. You can have cameras everywhere. You can have it on the campus everywhere, but you need to make sure actually whatever you collected has to be secure and stored for that purpose. For me, as ensuring you comply control over your data and protects everyone's privacy when required. An institution today should consider applying privacy protection. This is something we have in our software by default. Any camera can have that privacy protection on the data they collect, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If that once the people gain access, some people gain access to those data, they should not recognize the identity of the people. That we should be protected, and that's the responsibility of that institution on the top of Genetec. So finally, I believe encryption is a key here. Encrypt data in transit and at rest to ensure your confidentiality and integrity. And we can talk about a lot about this subject because this is something Genetec actually pushes a lot when it comes to privacy, and we make sure that actually our software fully embedded, built on that purpose of privacy for our clients. Back to you, Dan.
Okay, thank you. So I think that really sets the scene quite nicely in terms of the challenges. I suppose the next topic we'd like to explore is resilience, or building resilience with physical security platforms.
Yeah.
So I'll stick with you, Ephrem. Sure. How can the platform that you're talking about help institutions be more adaptive in terms of their security approaches? Are there any sort of key features that make it particularly useful for campus settings?
That's a very good question. So the core, first, as Genetec, the core pillars that we have a big feature. We cannot even mention and talk about it in this session because it would take a lot of time. But in high level, the unification part is the big in the open architecture, which is we are open to integrate with a lot of manufacturers. Centralization, as Issam actually mentioned that earlier, that we can able to centralize or connect different multiple institution. And actually, we have a project, not to mention the name, but they use our centralization as a university and access from anywhere that they're located. So you will not only they will have visibility, they will have access to the system actually that are actually not even the same region. The modularity and user experience, the key part. And at the end of the day, security. I talked about the encryption. These are the biggest feature that actually as an institution can be benefited by Genetec. These are all the core of our development focus. This empowers advancement in our institution run their physical security operation. When all of your physical security activities functions and that originated from within the same system, again, we're going back to the same point, the unification from the same system, you can harness the flow of data across your security activities. It makes it easier to do more efficient work, secure people, building assets, whatever you have in the building. Not only that, you can make sense out of that data from the same unified solution. So we had a vision to reduce this redundancy that came with having many different solutions. So we knew what we do is actually we always talk about our customers, institution, clients that we have, what to make it, what to make it better, what they need add on our solution, and that integrating each security product together meant a lot for them, because that for the time, cost, effort, and maintenance and upgrade. Again, Issam mentioned this very good point, that's maintenance and upgrade to each product individually. With that knowledge, we can set out to create a physical security platform that would enable multiple products to be unified to work as one. By just doing this, I think you give them a feature that they're looking for in a platform that actually they can work in the campus environment. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you. I've got a follow-on question. I'd like to bring Issam in on
Sure.
this. I mean, what do you think are the benefits then of a unified security platform? Are there any sort of short, medium, long-term benefits of centralizing the security functionalities?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can touch on the subject from the angle that Ephrem already used. One of our common customers between Convergint and Genetec has a campus in UAE and campuses in Europe and US. For a client like this, they have a central security management for all of their campuses. So imagine the difference in having certain threats and crimes different between different territories where they operate. The campuses have different sizes. They might have 10,000 or 20,000 or 25,000 students spread across different areas in the world, different cultural backgrounds, different environments where the campuses exist. So aggregating this information into a central source will empower the people who are operating those systems, especially on a high level, to understand what's happening on their campuses in a very automated and effective way. If they want to investigate a certain person, they can investigate that person across their whole campuses using the centralized information in the system. So they don't have to go individually into each and every campus and check what's going on or what happened or did this person access and when, and then aggregate the information manually and then come up with an analysis. All of this could be done in a central, efficient way. And in case you had a situation where there was an emergency and you need to blacklist someone, for example, and prevent them from entering any campus for you around the world, again, click of a button, you should be able to do it centrally. So imagine how much time you're saving on resources, wasting time in investigation, wasting time on all of these things. So you do it very efficiently now. The second thing is upgrades and maintenance. So instead of, again, doing upgrades across each individual campus spread around the world, you can do the upgrades from a central location and push it across all of your properties. Training needs, we already spoke about training earlier. So again, you're training hundreds or thousands of faculty members on a single system instead of training them on different systems spread across different areas in the world that might be very different, by the way. And then capability to customize the solution. So having something like Genetec, the platform is so diversified that I might require something in UAE that's a bit different than what I might require in Saudi, than what I might require in Egypt. So having this flexibility to customize the same system without changing the whole solution, customize certain aspects of the system is very important, because it makes the whole experience easier to live with and easier to improve and update and develop and add more third-party applications to it. Again, within the same country, sometimes you have a variant threat. Take Egypt as a good example, where overnight the whole situation in the country changed. So you have a new list of threats to deal with, and you need to sort of adapt the solutions that you have to deal with that. So these are all things that are benefits. And maybe a side note on this, it's hopefully that one day we get to, at least in the Middle East, we get to have the data to back up these benefits, because so far the data is a bit confidential with many clients, and it's not centralized. So unlike some other territories, we can actually measure the impact of these benefits. So hopefully one day we'll be able to do that over here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think moving sort of following the theme of flexibility, customization, you mentioned sort of predicting new threats. I think the Arab Spring was something that appeared and there was significant challenges overnight. But I want to follow on with that with a question to Ephrem, and it's around sort of the scalability of the solutions here and the adaptability. So is there any, I'd like to understand how scalable are these approaches, and how can your organization help institutions anticipate and address evolving threats? Because I'm just thinking, if this was here during the Arab Spring, it would have been something that could have added a lot of value. So what are your thoughts there, Ephrem?
All right, thanks, Dan. I think scalability is one of a good, of course, topic that I'll talk about. And as software manufacturer, Genetec, for me, it's a different platform. It's a different type of platform. It's built from the ground up to unify all your data so that you can manage security policies, monitor events, and run investigation. What means that is, when we talk about building from unified app, it's not something that we created something small and we patch it on the top of things to make it scalable. When we design our security center, we started as the unified or enterprise security solution, which means when you talk about scalability, when you talk about adding anything on the top of what you have already, makes it easier. So it's extensive ecosystem for us to let you expand your system with the technology you need and to face emerging threats. Also, and since it's not focused on one of narrow set of tasks, it accommodates new data types seamlessly in one interface. You can bring any sensors, you can bring any other data on the top of it. So let's say today your project, this requires only video, nothing else. This is where actually it's added value for Genetec. You can buy the Secure Center with only video modules and you work perfectly. Of course, if you have especially good partner like Convergint, your environment makes it easy. Now, any project requirement, anything changes in 6 months or a year, 6 months down to the road, you have access control, LPR, any data, anything that you want. The only thing what you need to do is enable a module or a feature on Secure Center what you already have. That's scalability. That makes it easier for you to grow the way you want in your organization. Our open platform allow you to bring also additional tool to help you investigate incidents faster and more efficiently, all while making it easier than ever to collaborate with the law enforcement. So it's a truly unified platform, allow you to connect, again, it's video as I talk about, access control, this is basic, but also if you have a parking, like an institution today, parking management is something actually, they can even make business out of it. They can make money out of the parking management. So you can have that parking data points in your secure center and develop a collaboration that you didn't have before. That bring you to a new insights to make smarter business decision, security decision, to plan when and where to schedule classes, to ensure operational excellence around that school. So you start with one, but you can end up adding more and more modules on the top of what you have. So to make it scalable, to make it additional on your project. The also operators can easily track school activities. Once everything is one solution, it's easier to track your activities and rely on instant security alerts to campus security through, example, mobile application, mobile devices, whatever that you have, and that you can monitor the system. All starts from, again, from Unified, which is a platform that actually we started from the bottom up. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you. Some really interesting insights there. I think sort of a logical next question is, I mean, if we look at emerging technologies that are coming, facial recognition, for example, drone surveillance, AI analytics, ANPR. It's very relevant at the moment in the UK. How do you, Issam, envision incorporating these technologies in the future?
As Convergint, I think this is a very important front for us, and we are putting a lot of effort in working with the clients that we currently work with to make sure that there is some depth in the knowledge transfer about what these different things that you mentioned can do and can solve. And we are seeing a sort of a trend of a lot of companies that or manufacturers that step in as a one-stop shop for all of these solutions, and it's really never the case. In many cases, several manufacturers are very good at one particular thing, which is their core competency. And I admire what Ephrem is sharing today along those lines. Genetec being a unified platform, and their focus on building the best platform for their customers. Now, these different applications or different things like facial recognition or AI or drones or such, they all solve or are designed to solve certain problems, and we like to approach their integration within the whole security environment from that angle. It might be that a certain campus will require an FR application because they have a list of offenders. They are integrated maybe with the local authority. They want to check if somebody is accessing, and they might not have this requirement at all. So there's no point in sort of pushing this to customers. Second thing is AI. AI again is a very big blanket term, but under the AI and the video analytics, there's so many thousands of different applications that you can do. So the way Genetec was built and why we like them in the higher education sector is that the platform is capable of getting the best in breed from these different individual applications and sort of adopting it and using it in a seamless way, where the user is, again, not having to get trained and become an expert on drone operation or AI or all of these things, but they essentially access these tools through Genetec, and they are trained on how to use it through the lens of Genetec. This is very, very important. To be able to do all of these things, you have to have the right technology in place. You have to have the right SMS in place. SMS is the security management system, like Genetec, is the heart and soul of any security solution. If you have the right platform in place, there is so much you can do on it. And we also, part of the vision is, again, try to push the clients not to look at these things as from a shopping cart perspective. You might have the budget to buy all of them, but buying all of these things will clog your system eventually if you don't need them. But if you buy these features and you attach them to your system and you actually need them, they're going to be of great value to you. So we start from sort of the basic fundamental layer and build these requirements up. But we urge the customers to go for the right platform first, because if you don't have the right platform in place, it's going to be a snowball of issues and mistakes all the way down. One more thing I want to mention about these technologies and the way we are incorporating them in the modern security environment, especially post-COVID, when a lot of these technologies became more mature and user-friendly and accessible from a budget perspective. Most of these algorithms are dealing with conventional problems, and they are generic by their nature. They are there off the shelf, you can go buy them, but to be able to utilize their power, you need to do a certain level of customization on them and attach them to something like Genetec. So this is something we're heavily invested in from a software capability perspective, to be able to not only advise the clients on which direction they need to go, but sort of work closely with them to address and customize these solutions to achieve what they are the problems that they're trying to solve, achieve the solutions. In a sense, it's a very diversified subject, and you know, we can talk for hours about it. So over to you.
I can imagine. I think this is one of those topics that is so multidimensional, and there's a lot to cover, and I'm very conscious of the time as well. So I think if we move on to the next topic area, we're going to be looking at the I guess the role of collaboration there. So I'll pose this question to Issam, if you don't mind, again. So how can collaboration between institutions, system integrators, and technology providers lead to a more secure future for everyone?
Well, this is a very important area, I think, to look at. Honestly, our industry has a lot of you know, stakeholders that come from policing, military background, or engineering backgrounds, and we all tend to take our conversation towards the technical operational side, and we forget that we're actually here to protect students and to protect staff, visitors, faculty members. So, you know, when it comes to security, we believe there's a lot. It's a lot about awareness, and awareness comes with communication. We are trying to implement best practices as Convergint, especially in the region. So we're trying to communicate with the public. For example, in the case of campuses, and we've all been through this process. When you get your induction, security is rarely part of the induction. The rules are, like, they tell you the do's and don'ts, but what is actually, who's protecting you? Like when you're behind the scenes, these guys sitting in the control rooms using Genetec and using these systems, what are they actually doing to protect us when we're in the, you know, universities? So an idea is to keep security as part of the induction to students and humanize it a little bit, like you know, makes it much easier to digest. The second thing is the communication, the messages, the email, all of those things. It's also a lot helpful when you're doing a security upgrade or you have a security project ongoing. Inform people about it. Tell the students what's going on. Tell the faculty members what you're actually doing. You know, have them be part of the solution, not part of the challenge during your, you know, ongoing projects. Of course, all of this has to be done in a way that it protects the privacy of what's going on. But nevertheless, when people are aware, you'll be surprised how much they collaborate with the, you know, with the people in charge. I think these angles are important, and also there's an element, not just those we are protecting as the students being the customers for those campuses, but the faculty themselves. These security systems have so much potential in them that, as Ephrem said before, they can participate in revenue generation for the campus owners. So there also must be a push from the security management side to have the faculty and staff involved in what systems they're deploying. Take them to roadshows, take them to, you know, 3-4 major events that happen every year. Have them involved in the security industry. Let them know what's happening. They will also give you an idea about what problems they have and how to solve them. All of these things that I just discussed are all about communication. And, you know, once it's in place, you know, it could have a big impact on everyone, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Ephrem, have you got anything else to add to, I suppose, that question there around?
Yes, definitely. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. I think this is actually one of a good points that what Issam mentioned. As collaboration is a big thing, right? You cannot just succeed in one only by yourself. So in today's especially complex and landscape, and collaboration among system integrators like Convergint, we're talking about actually today, like Genetec, and the institution are very important. It's not only Genetec can be succeed in a project. You need to have a partner like again Convergint, and the same on the top of that, institution need to be part of that collaboration as well. This partnership leverages diverse expertise to develop a comprehensive security solution by combining technology, which is what we're bringing, integration know-how, which is no one can speak about more than Convergint, actually, how the integration when it comes to their know-how, and the institution knowledge, what they need on their own environment. This collaboration enhances the effective and efficiency of security measures, ensuring a safer and more secure environment for stakeholders at the end that are involved. So to develop secure solutions that withstand evolving challenge, stakeholders must work closely with these partners, involving innovation design, leverage software capabilities to create cohesive and comprehensive security network. Timely updates. We as Genetec, we have many updates going on, many updates in our application. We have new features coming up, new versions, and you need a partner again like Convergint implement them swiftly to counter emerging threats. So you need to provide regular updates. So this is what collaboration is. It doesn't matter what I brought, it doesn't matter what features that we bring today. If we don't have that a good partner that actually help you go on site and develop that communication with the institution, it's not going to be useful. So for me, collaboration is a big thing, and actually we need to work all of us in the same for the same success, for the same goal, to manage the high security in the environment, and of course successful outcome at the same time. Through this collaboration, synergy stakeholders that can create security solution capable of adapting to dynamic scenarios, ensuring long-term effectiveness, flexibility, and future readiness. So this is where I can see why that the collaboration is very important for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, both of you have added a lot of value to this discussion. Absolutely. I think what I love to do in these webinars is leave the audience with sort of a summarizing point. But I'd like to focus that question around if an organization is starting from scratch and there's a university that wants to embark on this journey and are looking to really overhaul their systems, what would you consider as being a starting point? What should you look for? How do they start? And I'll ask Issam first, and then Ephrem to add some more context. So Issam, what are your thoughts there?
I think if you're starting from scratch, it's a good place to start. Regulation is very important to look at. Communicate with your colleagues, understand the problems they're facing, and then go for a very deep technical brainstorming with your closest partners. Don't buy cheap, and don't listen to those who tell you that they can offer a one-stop shop for everything for you. Base your decisions on the technical prowess of the solutions that you are going to end up buying, and this will have a massive long-term benefit for you for the medium and long term.
Fantastic, thank you. And Ephrem, anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean there's nothing much to add what Issam said, but for me, the client needs to know what they're looking for, right? Once it's fresh, as Issam said, if it's the beginning, if something start with zero or fresh, this is where you're gonna be. You can make the right decision on what you need. The right decision could be what partners do you want to be there, what kind of security you want to apply on the environment, because today, whatever we see, whatever we hear might not apply on your position. So make sure, ask question, make sure find a good partner, a good security system that actually can resolve your issue and can help you develop your environment.
Absolutely, thank you both. Well, look, I think we've got about 5 minutes for Q&A at the end of this session. So I'm just looking through some of the questions that have come in. The first question here that I'd like to pose to whoever wants to take this, by the way, is, are there any examples of how AI or machine learning have successfully thwarted or managed security incidents on campuses? To either of you, do either of you have any examples for that particular question?
I can go for an answer. So just to begin with, and for full disclosure, there's nothing even close to having a full-on AI in the security market yet, though the term is very fluidly used across. But there are very, very good video analytics applications in the market that are like developing very quickly. So one of the problems that they solved, and it had a direct impact, is the capability of searching through tons of videos and thousands of hours of videos and finding solutions and finding the results literally within seconds or minutes. This has a direct impact on your capability to do forensic work. And this is only one of many cases. Another case is facial recognition. It became very easy and intuitive to build lists, face lists of offenders, of wanted people, black, red, white lists, whatever they are, even VIP lists. And then whenever they approach your campus, the systems are picking these up with relative ease, considering they have good quality cameras in place as well. So these are two examples I would give.
Just to add on that, when it comes to software now, today's security system rely heavily on video surveillance. Right, we've seen this is what we always look to prevent intruders or support investigation. We have cameras. But however, so many cameras to monitor operators needs to a tool that help them detect potential threats and keep facility secure. Right, you cannot just manage 1,000 camera or 3,000 camera. This is where video analytics comes in the picture. It's not like to give an example where, but everywhere you go today, when whoever using video analytics can unlock the full potential for your video surveillance system by analyzing your video to provide actionable information. Whether your organization has hundreds of thousands of cameras or to monitor, basically the video analytics module decreases response time, reduce operator loads, workload, and improve operation. Also help security of personnel accurately assess situation and take action faster. For me, this is where I see the video analytics and any new technology that actually comes to the end of the picture. Good what we have, but adding on the top of that, the analytics will add you more value for your environment.
Okay, thank you. And then we've got a couple of, I think, more practical questions here. So the first one is, and I'll give this one to Ephrem, I think, is how user-friendly is the platform for people with especially limited technical expertise? And can it be integrated with an existing operational system?
Yes, so that's how user-friendly. This is what we talked about earlier. I mentioned that one of the key features you asked me is user-friendly. For me today, we have a lot of features. I'm not going to deny that. Like to find all features that you need in your environment or application, we might need proper partner or trainer to unlock the features. But the interface by itself is a very user-friendly. You can access, if anyone doesn't have any clue about security center or our security desk, can manage things by looking at it. It's like window-based. You can search for, let's say, an alarm. If you search video, it gives you guidelines actually there to navigate from where you want to apply. Of course, it will take you time, maybe few, but at the moment you start, you know how to search for it or navigate from one to the other. It's very easy for anyone to access or to manage that platform. Then this is where we're talking about training, right? Now, if you want to do more stuff, more things to enable on your platform, this is where you need to have more training or partner that actually can help you navigate and more what you're looking for. But for anyone does not know Security Center today, if you give it, they can move around because this is one of our feature, user-friendly interface.
Okay, thank you. And finally, I'll pose this question to Issam. What are the most common challenges that you see when integrating platforms like this?
Well, I think as Convergint, we do a very good job in investing in training. So the result when it comes to integrating the platform is usually a good one. The challenge that we have is more to the side of the expectation, I would say, from these integrations and from these various subsystems. Normally, the expectation does not match necessarily with what these systems are capable of, and this roots from, again, maybe the lack of detailed technical knowledge about what the products are capable of. So configuring these systems and making sure that they are rightly tuned to achieve what the client wants, I think this remains a very big challenge for us. And it's a moving target. You can never get it right from the beginning. You have to put in the hours, put in the work, put in the communication with the client until you get to that sweet spot that achieves what they want. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much both.
Thanks.
I think that brings us to the end of the webinar. Just want to thank you both for your contributions. It's a really interesting topic, and I hope that the audience enjoyed it. If you do have any other further questions, just scan the QR code here. You'll be able to pose some more questions directly to the panelists. I would definitely recommend exploring the websites, and yeah, really hope you enjoyed the session today. But as always, that's it from me and the Security Middle East magazine, and I hope you enjoyed the session today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Ephrem.
Thank you, Issam.